Donald Trump tried to go and do some damage control with Sean Hannity, but he started the interview by saying, "I wish I wasn't here." So instead, on Sunday, they sent Marco Rubio's soulless ass out on Sunday shows to talk about ways to cover this up and try not to make it look as bad as it was. Here's Marco Rubio. I mean, the shell that used to be Marco Rubio.
Secretary Rubio, we don't know what any of that progress is. And the president went into that meeting.
You're not going to.
Okay. The president went into that meeting saying he wanted a ceasefire and there would be consequences if they didn't agree on a ceasefire in that meeting. And they didn't agree to a ceasefire. So where are the consequences?
Well, that's not the aim of this. Look, first of all, you're not going to reach.
The president said that was the aim.
Ceasefire? What's a ceasefire? We went to that meeting to kiss his ass. What are you talking about? Matter of fact, as I think Martha Raddatz pointed out there's this guy who looks a lot like Donald Trump who said as they go into that meeting, a ceasefire is the goal. As a matter of fact, he said there's consequences if it doesn't get there.
Russia face any consequences if Vladimir Putin does not agree to stop the war after your meeting on Friday?
Yes, they will. Yeah.
What will the consequences
there will be
be?
consequences.
Sanctions, tariffs?
There will be, I don't have to say, there will be very severe consequences, yes.
Wait, Marco Rubio just told me that wasn't the goal, except Donald Trump before the meeting said that that's the goal, and also there'll be some severe consequences that he's not going to tell you about if it doesn't get there. But still, there's going to be some severe consequences if a ceasefire deal is not reached by the end of the meeting. This is Steve Witkoff. He's one of the special envoys that's being sent over to talk to Putin all the time, as they've been doing for the past several months. And he's been doing nothing either except for parroting talking points.
But the president had said numerous times, and he said in the past that he wants a ceasefire and he was hoping to get one going in. You know, he told Bret Baier on the plane that he would be very unhappy if he came away from this without a ceasefire. So how do you call this a win if you didn't get that?
Shannon, a ceasefire, as you know, is a conditioned precedent, generally speaking, before a peace deal. So in that context, the president has always talked about a ceasefire until he made a lot of different wins in this meeting and began to realize that we could be talking about a peace deal. The ultimate deal here is a peace deal. And we were talking about much more robust security guarantees than anyone ever imagined before. We were talking about EU admission. There was all kinds of subject matter discussed here that began to lead the president to the assumption that we could finish this thing with a peace deal and really end the killing almost immediately. And that's what we went for. That's what real deal makers do, and that's what he did. And it was really an amazing feat for me to watch happen.
Remember I told you these water carriers and these ass kissers that work with Donald Trump, that their main objective is to make sure they finish everything they say by saying, everything I saw Donald Trump do was amazing. I'm honored to watch him create these deals. You know he's the great deal maker? Did you know he wrote The Art of the Deal when he didn't? Did you guys know that? Oh my God. You know, it's amazing watching him. But if you listen to that jumbled bullshit that he just said, he said, we don't need a ceasefire because before that, we were looking for a peace deal. But we all know we're looking for peace, so we need a ceasefire. But then up until we had that meeting where we had a lot of wins that he didn't give any details of those wins, after that meeting where we discussed a bunch of wins, we know that we can get towards a peace deal rather than a ceasefire. I feel like people should stop shooting at each other if we're nearing a peace deal. I'm not sure how you have a peace deal while people are still killing folks. It's weird how that works. But as long as you say ceasefire and peace deal and flip-flop it enough times, I guess folks that are watching Fox News Sunday will go, oh, well, they're looking for a peace deal, not a ceasefire. What are we doing? Let's let them keep killing a bunch of folks. And then after that, we'll get a peace deal. Because ceasefire, why would we need a ceasefire? So here's more of Marco Rubio talking about things that could maybe happen within something like, say these negotiations where things had to be given and things had to be taken.
What will Russia have to give up? What concessions will Russia, the aggressor, have to make as a part of this peace agreement?
Well, that's what these negotiations are about. And as you can imagine, everybody goes into a negotiation wanting 100% of what they want. That includes Ukraine, but obviously the Russians. And the only way to reach a deal on anything, whether it's in business or in politics or in geopolitics, the only way to reach a deal is for each side to get something and each side to give something. And that's been very difficult. If it was easy, this wouldn't have been going on for 3.5 years. Understand, the longer these wars go on, the harder they are to end, unfortunately, because one side is always looking for leverage on the other, in this particular case, the Russian side as well. And so I think that's the core of what we're trying to work through here. That's why Zelensky's coming tomorrow. That's why European leaders are coming tomorrow. That's why the president called them from the airplane, spent 2 hours in the middle of the night talking to them. And that's why we've been engaged with them every step of the way, is we are trying to find what can we get to that both sides can agree on. And it's been difficult. This is a hard issue set, but we're dedicating a lot of time to it. And the president deserves credit for dedicating time to it.
More credit for Donald Trump for screwing all this stuff up and getting absolutely nothing done. But the one thing that Marco Rubio wanted you guys to know, that this is a very tough situation. Everybody wants something. We have to do a lot of negotiations. This is not an easy deal. It's not that easy to do. I'm not sure why you guys are asking for this to be so simple. Who told you that this was going to be easy?
I'll end that war between those two countries in 24 hours. It won't even take that long. Mark my words, I'll stop that war in 24 hours. I will have the horrible war between Russia and Ukraine totally settled. I'll have it done in 24 hours. I would have a deal done in 24 hours from the time we started. And even now, I could solve that in 24 hours.
I can do it in 24 hours. I know both players, and I can do that in 24 hours.
You could end the war in Ukraine in 24 hours.
Yes, I could.
How would you do that?
I know Zelensky very well. Before I even arrive at the Oval Office, I will have the disastrous war between Russia and Ukraine settled. It will be settled quickly. I will get the problem solved, and I will get it solved in rapid order, and it will take me no longer than one day. I know exactly what to say to each of them. I got along very well with them.
But when he was saying all that stuff during the campaign, and people said that doesn't make any sense, as a matter of fact, it's stupid, they were called having Trump derangement syndrome and being unpatriotic and not believing in the great deal maker. But now that it's been multiple months and things have actually gotten worse, to where Donald Trump was walking out ashen and afraid. Yeah, it's the 7th time I've said it, because they walked out afraid. Now it's tough negotiations. Why do you expect so much? It's not like he said he's going to have it done in 24 hours. It's tough. Why are you guys being so hard on him? Who really thinks that? Like I said, Marco Rubio has zero soul left. I'm not sure if he ever did, but the iota that he did have, he's lost it. This is really odd. I want you guys to pay attention to Marco Rubio. This is from maybe several months ago. Donald Trump is sitting in the Oval Office, and he's hitting on this reporter. And Marco Rubio is standing behind him. And look at the shades of weirdness in his face as he's become this guy.
It is because it's politically incorrect. She said, she's beautiful, and you are beautiful. I'm not allowed to say that, that could be the end of my political career, but I say it anyway. But you are beautiful, and you're beautiful inside. So I wish I had more reporters like you. You covered Africa for a long time?
Yes, for over 10 years.
Wow.
I covered even your first administration.
Yes, I know that. That's great.
Wasn't that weird? I want to show you guys one more time. Look at this. It's shades of Austin Powers when Dr. Evil stand there and the people around him going, and they have to laugh with him, because if you don't, the button's gonna get pressed and you're gonna fall into the pit of fire with alligators or whatever the hell was down there. Watch his face again. He does these fake laughs and then he snaps back like he hates this guy, but he has to follow him because his soul has been taken.
She's beautiful, and you are beautiful. I'm not allowed to say that, that could be the end of my political career, but I say it anyway. But you are beautiful, and you're beautiful inside. So I wish I had more reporters like you. You covered Africa for a long time?
Yes, for over 10 years.
Maybe someone can explain to me what happened to Marco Rubio's soul. It's weird, though. I think Donald Trump's got it.